My gosh, hello, YouTube. This is actually my very first time going live on YouTube. I'm really kind of excited, a little bit nervous. Like, this is the first time I'm like looking at the controls. No, the first time ever going live, not nervous about going live. It's just, when you are stepping into something new and stepping into like a new community, it can feel a little bit, it can kind of press on the nervous system a little bit and the little fear buttons a little bit, but I'm really excited to actually start going live with YouTube pretty regularly. And so I do hope in the future that you pop on and you join me, because this is the place where we can, connect, where we can do Q&As, where you can ask questions, where we can pull tarot cards. And one of the things that I'm actually creating for the YouTube channel is I am creating a podcast that will be on YouTube, and it's going to be called The Divine Among Us. And I actually had one of my first interviews today. And so this is all going to launch around the first week in October. The very first videos will come out in the first week of October. I'm working alongside YouTube with Substack and actually writing articles about the connections that I've made with the people I'm talking to. And what the Divine Among Us is going to be designed for is to bring a little bit more of hope, connection, and to help people to see the beautiful sides of connection and awareness and awakening, and to remember that you're really not alone, and that the power that we have is always within us, and the connections that we're making are always within us, but that in this physical world and in this physical life we can have these incredible visitations, we can have these beautiful experiences. And so tonight, I wanted to share with you an experience that I had with my son when he was just 2 years old. He is 31 today, so we are talking about 29 years ago. And I can remember it. I can remember it like it was yesterday. The experience was so incredible and so powerful that it's like the memory of it is just still as crisp and as vibrant as it has always been. I see we do have some people on. Hello. I'm brand new here to YouTube Live, and so I'm not sure if I can see a chat button. Welcome to live chat. So I don't know if you guys are here and chatting and saying hello. I hope you are. Let me just press a few buttons. Let me press a few buttons. Hopefully I'm back. We won't hit that button again. I can't wait to watch this back. It's going to be a mess. Okay, I want to talk about the experience that I had when my son was 2 years old. And so I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you back to an old story. I was a single mom. I raised my child completely by myself, right? And I was one of these parents. This is kind of funny, because I was one of these moms who would literally tell other people, like, my child is never going to sleep with me. Like, I was super judgmental about it. I had my feelings about it, and I was like, yeah, my kid will never sleep in the same room as me or the same bed, and it's never gonna happen. And then he got sick, right? So when he was 2 years old, I noticed that he started he wasn't feeling well. He was having slight fevers. And he was complaining of his throat. He was complaining, the swallowing. He was having a hard time swallowing. He was having a hard time. And I took him to the doctor, right? So I take him to the doctor. And at that time, this pediatrician had been someone I had trusted, someone my family had worked with. He was an older doctor, and I really, really trusted him. So I took him to see this pediatrician who basically told me that he had a virus and that maybe I was just being a little bit overprotective, you know. Maybe I was worrying a little bit too much. Being a new mom, doing it by myself, that didn't surprise me. Okay, so I was like, okay, it's just a virus. It's gonna pass on its own. I can calm down about it. It confused me because he did have a fever, and I said, you know, it bothers me because he had a fever. Yada yada yada. He sends us home. Well, about 4 days later, I noticed that like he wasn't getting any better, and anything that we were using, any of the treatments that we were using, and he's still on this like Tylenol, Motrin, kind of back and forth with a fever, and his fevers were getting a little bit worse and getting a little bit worse and getting a little bit worse. So I take him back to the doctor, who at that time they did like a throat culture on him, right? They did a throat culture, it came back fine. Again, he's telling me like this is just a virus. It's gotta work its course. You know, you gotta. He just kind of like pushed me off a little bit, right? And so took him home. Was really concerned because he wasn't getting better. And then one day I'm sitting with my son, and we're on the couch, and we had a long night because he was sick all night. And the two of us together fell asleep. I think we were watching one of his movies or something. We fell asleep on the couch. And I woke up to feeling this heat along my arm. It was like a burning sensation along my arm. And it really, when I woke up and I looked, my son was burning red hot. And I went and I grabbed the thermometer and I stuck it under his arm, and it registered 104.5. Now, as a new mom, you know, I wasn't used to dealing with sick children, but I knew that an underarm temperature was 2 degrees less than a regular temperature. Okay? So if it was registering 104 under the armpit, I knew that we were probably hitting 106. And I don't, my mind sort of went into rescue mode, right? Like I really, if I'm thinking back and I'm thinking logically about this moment, I think I probably should have picked up the phone and called 911, but I didn't. Instead, I scooped up my kid, I put him in my car, and I drove to the hospital. We had two hospitals here, one that was 10 minutes closer and the other one was 10 minutes farther away. And I decided to drive him to the one that was 10 minutes further away because his doctor would not be associated with that hospital. His doctor was associated with the other hospital. And at this point, I was just raging mad with my doctor. He has since passed away, so we will not say any bad things about him. But at that time, I was in a space where I just needed, and of course, at 106-degree temperature, I needed something. I needed an emergency. It was an emergency, you know? And so I rushed into the hospital. Turns out he had scarlet fever. And he got scarlet fever because he had strep throat that went untreated. So we get his temperature down. We get him his antibiotics. We get him the healing he needs. He's in a full breakout. His temperatures are skyrocketing. I think for another 2 weeks, we went through this whole process of really high temperatures, dropping down temperatures, back up to really high temperatures. It was rashes. It was horrible. And there was moments where he was just so lethargic that I kept taking him back and forth to the hospital. I kept rushing him back and forth to the hospital, and kept getting these shots of to get his temperature down. We were doing ice baths. I mean, everything that you could think of to get his temperature down, we were doing. And there was one night I actually did start putting him in the bed with me, which is why I said, in the beginning of this, when I first became a mom, I was like, my child will never sleep with me. Yeah, my child got sick. That changed really quickly. Because I wanted him close to me. I wanted to know, like, if there was an emergency, that I could get to him, you know, that I could absolutely get to him. And so, um, another night, I'm laying in bed with him, and it's in the middle of the night, and I wake up to that same sensation of heat. And it was familiar to me because that was what actually got me to drive him to the hospital. And I kind of woke up in a little bit of a panic. And when I did, I shot up. But all I could smell in the room was like this very sweet, it was faint, but it was present. Like, I don't know if I can fully explain that. It was a scent of honeysuckle. And it literally just like it captivated me when I woke up. The smell just kind of like what is going on? It was that like in my face and in my senses that it just absolutely captivated me. And I looked over to my son, and as I did, sitting beside him was this apparition of a woman. I could see her very clearly, but she was in an apparition state. Like, she was see through, but I could see her. I could see her eyes. Her eyes were very, very like a golden light that like pierced through. And she had long hair, and she had it pulled back, and she had it pulled up. And she was laying hands on my son. And really wasn't looking at me at all, but I was just so, I think I was so mesmerized and so captivated between the smell, between her, that like I was just like staring into her, and she was laying hands on him. And there was this moment that she looked up at me, and as soon as she looked up at me, like, I knew we were dealing with a beautiful angelic force. I knew that this was something very, very special. And I don't know what happened, but I instantly went to sleep. Now, a lot of people over the years, I've shared this story, and I've had a lot of people tell me that this could have been a dream, right? That I could have been actually dreaming that this happened, and it felt very real. It could have been like lucid dreaming, etc., etc. And okay, I can buy that, right? I know dreaming, I know lucid dreaming, and lucid dreaming can feel really, really real. But the thing is that next morning, when I woke up to my son bouncing in the bed. He was completely, completely healed. There was no sign of him even being sick. So, was I dreaming? I don't think so. I don't think so. I want to share stories like this with you because I have experienced some phenomenal types of experiences in my life. That being one of the best. If the best, if you will. That one being the best. I do know that there are beautiful divine beings who can interrupt certain life forces or certain life experiences. I know that there are miraculous experiences. I know that people, myself included, have had near death experiences and experienced some phenomenal things in that experience and beyond. I am, for those of you who are new to me, I am a fourth degree medium. I'm a fourth, not fourth degree. I am a fourth generation medium and a channel. I've been doing this work doing this work professionally since I was 27. I'm now 54. So I have had an incredible amount of experiences in the space where I sort of woke up to my gift and started working on it and started developing it up until now, and even well before me turning 27. I had dealt with a lot of dark experiences in my late teen years from the age of 17 to 27. 27 is when everything began to change for me. I have had a lot of mediumistic experiences. I'm what I call a physical medium. So like I actually can experience a physical presence with medium. It's not just in my mind. I have done a lot of paranormal clearings. I've done a lot of business clearings, house clearings, energetic clearings. I have experienced a lot with the spirit side of things. And one of the things that I can say is that these experiences drove me deeper into connection to the divine. It really helped me to build a beautiful relationship to the divine. It helped me to heal. It helped me to become aware of so much that was holding me back. It helped me to witness my shadows. It helped me to witness my blessings. It helped me to witness my limitations. It drove me into this fierce feeling and calling of wanting to support others and help others along their path. This has been such a blessed journey. And it's had its highs and lows, because healing and growth and expansion in these areas can sometimes feel very turbulent, especially when you're facing programming and you're shifting the programming that you have. Can feel um, can feel a little bit shaky. But once we get moved beyond the uncomfortable part of it, move beyond the shaky ground of it, what you experience beyond that is so incredibly beautiful and so incredibly fulfilling. And I think in the world right now, as we're experiencing different things, different phases in the world, no matter where you're at, um, there's so much to hang on to and look at that's like really speaking negatively in the world or making you feel pulled into manipulation and drama, political dramas and political manipulations. That I want to provide something. If I'm going to share something with you, I want to share something that you can sink your teeth into, that you can truly feel, resonate with, maybe create your own awareness, create your own awakening, or just remember that you're absolutely not alone and that there is a divine presence amongst you. Hello, I see the chat now. Wonderful. Okay, I am learning YouTube Live, so please forgive me. Um, okay, it says, hi. I said hi. Hello. Hi. Namaste. Where are you from? Reply, please. I was telling a story, and I always will reply. But if I am telling a story, I don't necessarily want to interrupt the story. But I'll always say hello, and I'll always respond. For those of you who are new to me, hello, welcome. I'm Alea. I am from I'm in southeastern North Carolina, currently, and yeah, I am the owner and founder of Mystic Her. I am starting a brand new publication on Substack that's going to be called Spiritual Baloney and the Divine Cherry. I am creating a podcast here on YouTube that's going to be called The Divine Among Us. And I am also on Telegram. So I'd love to have you with me. If you are still here, shoot me a hello. If not, I'll give you just a few minutes. If not, I'll catch you on the next live. Let me know if this story moved you. Let me know if if you have a story that is profound, that has had such a huge impact on your journey in your life and your perspectives and the way that you move through the world. And it's something that you've never forgotten and you'd like to share your journey, I would love to have you on as a guest on the podcast. Just message me directly, and I believe now that we can actually communicate here on YouTube direct messenger, which is really fun. So if you would like to be a part of that experience, please give me a holler, shoot me a message, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what your experiences is and get you on the calendar. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I would love to hear more about yours. Good night.